Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadari Jasodanandana Prajanaranjana Jasodanandana Prajanaranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajanaranjana Jamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. just had it on me and I just took it off. So heavy. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhadravajacharya Satar Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Premsika Hoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Gir Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Gangamai Jamunamai Ki Tulasi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're reading from the 5th canto, chapter 1, text number 14. So if someone wants to do the reading all in Hindi, and then mostly, I'm sorry, 12. Sorry, I saw 12 and said 14. So mostly people need Hindi, so he can just do all that, and I won't read the English, but I'll read while you're reading to myself. Okay. So. Shlok, go ahead. You can do the whole thing. Natasha Chachitaspas. Go ahead.
Tapasa Vidyayavam Na Yoga Viryena Manishayava Nevartha Dharma Parata Satova Kritam Vihantum Tanubhrin Vibhuya Natasya Kaschin Tapasa Vidyayava Na Yoga Viryena Manishayava Nevartha Dharma Parata Satova Kritam Vihantum Tanubhrin Vibhuya Natasya Kaschin Tapasa Vidyayava Na Yoga Viryena Manishayava Nevartha Dharma Parata Satova Kritam Vihantum Tanubhrin Vibhuya शब्दार्थ। न कभी नहीं, तस्य उसका, कश्चित कोई भी, तपसा तप से, विद्या विद्या से, वा अथवा, न कभी नहीं, योग योग बल से, वीर्येण शारीरिक बल से, मनीषया बुद्धि से, वा अथवा, न कभी नहीं, एव निश्चय ही, अर्थ भौतिक ऐश्वर्य से, धर्म है धर्म से, परतः किसी बाह्य शक्ति से, स्वतः अपने प्रयास से, वा अथवा, कृतम आज्ञा, विहंतुम टालने में, तनुभृत भौतिक देह स्वीकार करने वाला जीवात्मा, विभूयात समर्थ है। अनुवाद मेरे पीछे बोलिए। भगवान की आज्ञा को कोई ना तो तपोबल, वैदिक शिक्षा, योग बल, शारीरिक बल या बुद्धि बल से टाल सकता है, न ही कोई अपने धर्म की शक्ति या भौतिक ऐश्वर्य से अथवा किसी अन्य उपाय से, ना स्वयं या न पराई सहायता से परमात्मा के आदेशों को चुनौती दे सकता है। ब्रह्मा से लेकर एक चींटी तक किसी भी जीवात्मा के लिए ऐसा कर पाना संभव नहीं है। तात्पर्य प्रभुपाद के द्वारा श्रील प्रभुपाद की। गर्ग उपनिषद में गर्ग मुनि अपनी पत्नी से कहते हैं, एतस्य वा अक्षरस्य प्रशासने गार्गी सूर्य चंद्रमसो विधृतो तिष्ठतः। हे गार्गी, प्रत्येक वस्तु भगवान के वश में है, यहाँ तक कि सूर्य चंद्र तथा अन्य नियंता एवं देवतागण यथा ब्रह्मा तथा इंद्र सभी उनके वश में हैं। चाहे सामान्य मनुष्य हो या पशु, जिस किसी ने भौतिक देह धारण की है वो भगवान की नियंत्रण सीमा से बाहर नहीं रह सकता। भौतिक देह में इंद्रियां सम्मिलित हैं, किंतु तथाकथित वैज्ञानिकों की इंद्रिय गतिविधियां निरर्थक लगती हैं, क्योंकि वे ईश्वर के नियम अथवा प्रकृति के नियमों से विमुक्त होना चाहते हैं। भगवद गीता 7:14 भी इसकी पुष्टि होती है। मम माया दुरतया, प्रकृति के नियंत्रण को पार कर पाना दुस्तर है, क्योंकि इसके पीछे भगवान का हाथ रहता है। कभी कभी हम अपने तप, त्याग तथा योग बल पर गर्व करते हैं, किंतु यहाँ यह स्पष्ट कहा गया है कि भगवान के नियमों तथा आदेशों का उल्लंघन कोई नहीं कर सकता। चाहे योग शक्ति से हो, वैज्ञानिक शिक्षा से हो अथवा तपोबल से हो, यह संभव है। यहाँ मनीषिया बुद्धि से शब्द का विशेष महत्व है। प्रिव्रत तर्क कर सकते थे कि ब्रह्मा उनसे गृहस्थ जीवन तथा राजपाट स्वीकार करने का अनुरोध कर रहे हैं, जबकि नारद मुनि ने उनसे गृहस्थ जीवन में न प्रवेश करने तथा भौतिक मामलों में न उलझने का उपदेश दिया था। इनमें से किसे स्वीकार किया जाए, ये प्रिव्रत के समक्ष उलझन थी, क्योंकि ब्रह्मा जी तथा नारद मुनि दोनों ही प्रामाणिक महाजन हैं। इन परिस्थितियों के अंतर्गत मनीषिया शब्द का प्रयोग अत्यंत उपयुक्त है, क्योंकि इससे सूचित होता है कि नारद मुनि तथा ब्रह्मा दोनों ही उपदेश देने के लिए अधिकृत थे, अतः प्रिव्रत इनमें से किसी की उपेक्षा नहीं कर सकते थे, किंतु उन्हें दोनों का उपदेश पालन करने के लिए अपनी बुद्धि का उपयोग करना था। ऐसी दुविधाओं को हल करने के लिए श्रील रूप गोस्वामी ने बुद्धि का अत्यंत स्पष्ट स्वरूप प्रस्तुत किया है। उनका कथन है, अनासक्तस्य विषयान् यथार्हम् उपयुञ्जतः निर्बन्धा कृष्ण संबंधे युक्तम वैराग्यम उच्यते। विषयान् अर्थात भौतिक व्यापारों को बिना आसक्ति के स्वीकार करना चाहिए और प्रत्येक वस्तु ईश्वर की सेवा से जोड़ दी जानी चाहिए। यही वास्तविक बुद्धि मनीषा है। यदि कोई कृष्ण की सेवा के लिए प्रत्येक वस्तु को स्वीकार करता है तो भौतिक जगत में गृहस्थ होना या राजा होना हानिकर नहीं है। इसके लिए विमल बुद्धि की आवश्यकता है। मायावादी दार्शनिक कहते हैं, ब्रह्म सत्यम जगन मिथ्या, ये संसार मिथ्या है और केवल परम ब्रह्म ही सत्य है, किंतु ब्रह्मा तथा महामुनि नारद की परंपरा का अर्थात ब्रह्म संप्रदाय का बुद्धिमान भक्त इस जगत को मिथ्या नहीं मानता। जिसकी भगवान ने सृष्टि की वो मिथ्या कैसे हो सकती है, किंतु सुख के लिए उसका उपयोग अवश्य ही मिथ्या है। जैसा कि भगवद गीता 5:29 में कहा गया है कि प्रत्येक वस्तु भगवान के भोग के निमित्त है। भोक्तारम यज्ञ तपसाम सर्वलोक महेश्वरम। भगवान संपूर्ण यज्ञ तथा तप के परम भोक्ता हैं, अतः उनके भोग तथा सेवा के निमित्त ही प्रत्येक वस्तु होनी चाहिए। अनुकूल या प्रतिकूल परिस्थितियों का ध्यान न रखते हुए प्रत्येक वस्तु का उपभोग परमेश्वर की सेवा के लिए करना चाहिए। अपनी बुद्धि का यही उचित उपयोग है।
Thank you. Om Jnana Timarandasya Gina Gina Shalakaya Chakshu Umilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanshakapachubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. When I read the verse this morning, I was really excited. Someone's translating? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. This is a very profound and powerful verse. So here we have Priyavrata Maharaj, and he's in a little bit of he's a little torn here. He has Lord Brahma telling him, you should take householder life, you should be the king, you should take care of all these things. And then he has his spiritual master Narada Muni telling him you should not be attached, you should renounce all things and not get attached. So, and Lord Brahma is the father of Narada Muni, so technically he's the highest authority. But then, of course, your spiritual master is very special. He has a lot of authority, right? So have any of you ever been in a situation where you have two authorities telling you things which seem to be completely the opposite? How many of you have been in such a situation? Yeah. And how does that feel? It's like confusing. You want to make sure not to make anybody angry. You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. But what's the right thing? This one is saying this is the right thing, and the other one's saying the opposite is the right thing. What to do? So Srila Prabhupada really sums it up in one word. What's that word? Use your intelligence. Yes. Good point. Use your intelligence. Sometimes we're afraid to use our intelligence because we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to do the wrong thing. We don't want to displease anybody. However, using our intelligence is a very, very, very important part of Krishna consciousness. Now, a lot of times we're within a structure where we have a direct authority, and our direct authority tells us what to do, and we do it. And life is simple. And we will find ourselves in many situations in life where things are not so clear and there's no authority around. Now, maybe we have a mobile phone and we can call our authority on our phone. However, there are circumstances in which we will be required to use our intelligence. So it behooves us, it's important that we actually develop the capacity to use our intelligence. Krishna gave us intelligence. It's a very important gift that Krishna gave us. And sometimes we're scared to use our intelligence because we don't want to make a mistake. However, taking responsibility for using our intelligence is a very powerful way to grow in Krishna consciousness. Now, Rupa Goswami gives a very clear conception of intelligence. So I'm going to read it. Material affairs, Vishavan, should be accepted without attachment, and everything should be dovetailed with the service of the Lord. That is real intelligence. Seems pretty clear. However, the material energy is so subtle. Sometimes what seems to be spiritual and what seems to be material are subtle. Sometimes just because I'm in the temple and I'm serving and I'm doing something, I might feel like, okay, I'm protected here. I'm in the spiritual world here. I'm inside the temple. However, we still have a mind, and our mind may be telling us things which have us in material consciousness. And sometimes we may see persons in householder life and they seem to be outside the temple, and yet they are praying and using their intelligence. How can I serve Krishna in this way? So it's important for each and every devotee, no matter what your material circumstances, no matter what your physical body, no matter what the gifts or challenges you have been handed in your life, to learn how to use our intelligence. It's imperative. At the time of death, you're not going to be able to exactly have an authority tell you how to leave your body. It's going to be you and Krishna. So we have this lifetime to start practicing to use our intelligence. So, it says in the verse here that Mayavadis talk about how the material world is false, right? And we do know that the material world and material energy is illusory, right? But whose material energy is it? It's Krishna. Maya Devi is the best servant of Krishna. She's testing us to see if we've gotten the subtle principles of Krishna consciousness. So often, it's so subtle. I know, because I've been caught in the trap of illusory energy many times. I think I'm doing the right things. In fact, for 3 decades, I did all the right things. I did what my authorities told me. I gave everything. I gave up my children. I worked hard. I pushed myself. I turned in all the money I made. And after 3 decades, I found myself in a big mess because I was so frustrated and angry and depressed, I wanted to kill myself. So something had infiltrated in the midst of all my many, many, many services. Something had infiltrated. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't even see it. I was bewildered. What did I miss, Krishna? What? Come on, I did all the right things. So I was a little frustrated and angry at Krishna, and I said, thanks a lot. I can't even kill myself, because then I'm going to become a ghost. So what do you want? What do you want? You must want me to look at something, but I don't even know what it is. I can't see it. If you want me to look at it, you have to show it to me. So it was my false ego. Arrogance had entered into my devotional service and actually had totally cut me off at the knees. All the external services I had done were of no value in my consciousness, because my consciousness had ascertained that I was now a devotee. So it says in this verse that the material energy, it's Krishna's energy. So the problem is not with our mind. The problem is not with our false ego. The problem is not with other people out here. What is the problem? What's the problem? You have to say a little louder. False ego, consciousness. What else? Desire, getting a little closer. Bodily conception. Huh? Free will. Free will is not a problem. It's attachment. It's attachment that gets us stuck. Attachment. We have a material body. This is a great gift. This is a boat. This is a human body, human life, right? You don't get human lives all the time, right? This is a great boat here. We have this mind, and we have free will now. We're not just running by our instincts like animals. We have some ability to choose here. This is a great gift. However, attachment to the body and simply feeding the body through sense gratification, it doesn't get us out of the material conception of life. So oftentimes in human life, the human psyche wants to avoid pain and have pleasure, right? And even we become sometimes devotees because we're suffering so much, we just need to get out of this suffering. This pain is too much, we can't take it. So we become devotees. And at first it's really wonderful, and we feel immediate relief from that suffering and that pain, right? However, Krishna consciousness is not a quick fix. It's not a quick answer. Krishna consciousness is very deep. So if we try to patch and paste Krishna consciousness on top of our attachments, on top of our false ego, it won't stick. It might stay for some while. It might be, you might be able to put this nice creamy icing on top and decorate it with nice flowers. It might look really good. But eventually, the sun will come out and melt the icing, and the mud pie underneath is going to show up. That is actually the most special blessing of the Lord. That is the blessing of the Lord. The blessing of the Lord is not that he just gives us these tools and he gives us the holy name. The deepest blessing of the Lord is when he shows us there's something underneath there that you really want to work on. You want to look at this. It's like your soul is here, and then you've got your false ego, and then your conceptions, these upadhis, right? And then you put Krishna consciousness on top, but there's a big, between here, this external, and in here where you really are with Krishna, there's a long distance, and there's some stuff in between. So the upadhi of the material body, a lot of times upadhi means designations, right? So we talk about designation male, female, Indian, American, right? Those are designations, and those are obvious designations. We can see them. We can see the difference, right? But the upadhis that really get us are the subtle upadhis, the upadhis of our designations that we've given ourselves, the personas that we've given ourselves. Our shame persona. I am so shameful. I have neglected Krishna for hundreds and millions of lifetimes, and here I am again in a material body. I blew it. How shameful. We all have that shame inside there. It's in there because the soul knows, okay, you blew it, and then we feel embarrassed and guilty. But we don't like that. On top of that, we paste another upadhi. Look at how good I am. Look what I can do. Look how many results I can make. Look how great I am, right? So that looks pretty good, and we get kind of attached to that upadhi because we can function and get a lot of things done for Krishna, dovetailing our energy for Krishna. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with using those personas. However, when we become, we are attached. We are attached to these upadhis. We are attached to these identities because we don't know who we are separate from these identities. So in this attachment to these identities, we lose connection with ourselves, our real self, and Krishna in our heart. And these upadhis are not just coverings and they're not just operating systems. Like the false ego is an operating system, but these upadhis are not just operating systems. They actually become us. They start controlling us. Like these upadhis, these designations, the material energy starts controlling us, right? We're controlled. It's like having a computer and it has a program, and when you turn it on, the default mode is immediately in place, right? If default mode's there, and you turn it on, and maybe the default mode is Times New Roman when you type in Microsoft. Maybe that's the default mode. Now, if you don't know anything about the programming, you think that's it. That's all I got. This is how I am. How many times do we tell people, this is just how I am, this is the way I am, it's my karma, it's how I am, it's, you're going to have to accept me as I am, this is how I am. And I identify, this is how I am, and I identify you, that's how you are. We are not these upadhis. These are operating systems. These are habits. These are conditionings. But every time we identify with them, we solidify them. And then we put ourselves in a box. This is me. This is how I am. This is it. This is as good as it gets. And I'm just going to put some good Krishna consciousness on top of that. we really need to dismantle our attachment to these upadhis. Now, there's nothing really inherently wrong with the false ego. It's an operating system. It helps us to operate. If we didn't have an operating system, if we didn't have a false ego, because we don't know who we really are, we would be vegetables. We wouldn't have access to operating. If we didn't have this human body, we would be a disembodied spirit running around trying to figure out what to do, right? The body is helpful. It's our boat. The operating systems are helpful. The mind is helpful. But it's our attachment to them and our belief that it's the absolute truth, that I am this way. We lock ourselves in the box. So with our intelligence is really important, because with our intelligence we can ask ourselves questions. Instead of knowing everything and having all the right answers, the answers that we put in our head, and we know all the verses and we put it all in our head and we stuff it in there. Krishna consciousness is not information. Krishna consciousness is transformation. It's not information. It says it right here. It says it right here in the verse. By the strength of severe austerities, exalted Vedic education, the power of mystic yoga, physical prowess, intellectual activities, nor by the use of the power of religion, material opulence, or any other means can we defy the orders of the Supreme Lord. So, how can we factually and in reality surrender to the orders of the Supreme Lord? The way we begin our Krishna consciousness is we listen to our authorities. That's the beginning. However, it's helpful when our authorities help us to learn how to use our intelligence. It's just like you can feed somebody who's poor. You can feed them, and every day they'll come to your door, and you feed them, and you're taking care of them, and they're so happy. You're feeding them. You're taking care of them, right? But they are becoming dependent on you, and they're not growing. Better to teach them how to make a garden, how to grow their food, how to cook, how to take care of themselves, how to use their intelligence. So it's important for us to learn and to teach one another how to use our intelligence. Krishna's given us this intelligence. It's so important. We have to be able to determine, okay, here I am in this situation. This one's telling me this, and this one's telling me that. How can I fulfill both of these things simultaneously, right? Priyavata was in that fix. And he took on the service of being the king and being in householder life without attachment. So similarly, when we really use our intelligence, we need to see that it's not just about the external. It's not just about pleasing our authorities. We might have to go to the authorities and say, well, you're saying this, and this one's saying this. Or maybe you want to put the two authorities together and sit with them saying, I'm a little confused here. My intelligence is telling me that maybe this would be the best thing. I don't want to displease you. Is there a way that we can work this out? Really having those very real and challenging conversations actually helps us to grow in reality. And these challenges will continue to come because they're actually part of the growth process. Krishna consciousness, we're not robots. We're not robots. We're very real living entities. Krishna has given us life. We have our individual soul. It's eternally individual. We have our individual nature. We have our individual relationship with Krishna. It's eternally there. That's who we really are. So in using our intelligence, we can determine, where am I attached? What am I attached to? What is my mind telling me that I'm believing, which is preventing me from really surrendering to the order of the spiritual master? Now, there's nothing wrong with intelligence. There's nothing wrong with Vedic education. There's nothing wrong with material opulence when we use it in Krishna's service. So we can ask Krishna, how can I serve you best right now with what I have, with what you've given me, with what I don't have? How can I serve you best right now, in this moment? What is the best way I can serve you? I need your guidance. I need your support. We can talk to Krishna and ask Krishna. Now, sometimes we feel that we need to know the right answer. Right? We need to know the right answer. We need to know what to do. We need to know the right thing. Well, right and wrong, good and bad, that's part of duality. That's in the material realm, duality. Krishna, what is the appropriate thing to do right now? So we'll take the little story about the brahmachari who saw the woman who needed to get across the river, right? So he picked her up, carried her across the river, and he walked with his other brahmachari friend back to the temple. The second brahmachari said, how could you do that? How could you pick up that woman and carry? That's totally against brahmachari life. And he said, I carried her across the water. You've carried her for the last 3 kilometers. Right? So it's our consciousness. If it's appropriate, this person's suffering, let me relieve their suffering, and we do it without attachment, we're free. But if we're attached to doing it the right way, we might be judging our brother or sister and making an offense. Luckily, he revealed it to his brother, who could then, point something out to him. So, it's the attachment, even the attachment, too much attachment to the rules and regulations, just following the rules and regulations to follow the rules and regulations and get it right. That's against our scripture, right? We don't do it just to follow the rules and regulations, but we don't neglect them either. What is appropriate? What is appropriate? That means we're going to have to use our intelligence, and what's appropriate for you may not be appropriate for you, may not be appropriate for me. And what's appropriate today may not be appropriate tomorrow. Now, if that brahmachari every day kept picking up the same woman and taking her across, that might be a problem. That's not appropriate. We need to use our intelligence. So, one big impediment is our attachment to getting it right, to knowing the right answer. Now, when we first came to Krishna consciousness, and we didn't know anything about Krishna really, we didn't know anything. When we came in the temple and we started learning, we just started to see miracles all over. How many of you saw Krishna's hand when you first became a devotee? Wow, how did Krishna do that? That was miraculous. How did that happen? How many of you saw miracles like all the time around you? How did that happen? That's so miraculous, right? And then little by little we started to know everything, and then the miracles started to disappear. Have any of you kind of noticed that? Like, where are the miracles? It's because we already know what to do. We know what it should look like. We know the right answer. All that knowing fills the space. There's no space for Krishna to dance in our lives because we're too busy trying to get it right and know the right answer. Sometimes being torn and being in a place where we don't know what to do or what to say, we call out to Krishna. What do you want from me in this moment, Krishna? How can I serve you best? Thank you for putting me in this difficult situation. You're taking me out of my comfort of knowing and having the right answer, and you're actually, now I have to really call out to you in reality. Draupadi was holding on to her sari. She was doing materially what you should do when someone tries to disrobe you. Hold on, right? But her material prowess couldn't work. When she let go materially, hey Govinda, hey Krishna, I am in your hands. You can disrobe me or you can protect me. I really can't do anything. That's when Krishna immediately came. Before that, he said, okay, you're taking care of it. It's fine. Okay, I'm not gonna interfere. So when we're taking care of everything, we got it all handled. There's nothing wrong with that. It's good to have things handled. But when Krishna puts us in those tight situations, he's trying to force us to go a little deeper. Okay, could you call out to me? I'm your friend, I'm here to help you, but you're not calling me because you got it all figured out. You don't need me. So when we're put in situations where we need to use our intelligence, it's an opportunity for us to call out to Krishna. Hey Krishna, hey Govinda, please help me to see clearly, clear intelligence. Let me see what is the appropriate way to serve you right now. And in that place of openness and gratitude, Krishna can come into our lives and miracles can happen every day. So, thank you for your time and attention. If there's any questions. Okay, one, please. Do we have a microphone? Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. My question is that how one can detach from bodily pleasure and family members? Is there any method to completely detachment? Will it be right decision to leave our parents alone?
It's not the external detachment that really gets us detachment. That's a quick fix. I mean, it's really easy to push people away. I did it for 3 decades. You're karmis. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm just going to hang out with the devotees. You eat meat. You're horrible, demons, right? I detached from my kids. I pushed my kids away. I caused a lot of pain and suffering for others. That's detachment? I don't think so. We're attached to detachment. We want to be detached because we want to be a pure devotee as soon as possible, like maybe tomorrow if possible, right? Because I want to be out of this material misery and this material false. I want to be a pure devotee. So, detachment means detachment from the things that cover you. So you want to start looking at yourself. You don't want to look out here and I need to push everybody away. How can I have association of devotees? That's fine. But your parents are souls in a human machine. They're parts of Krishna. They're suffering. So you're going to push them away, push away your material duties. I'm going to be Krishna conscious, You want to balance the two things out. If your parents see you doing that, they're going to say, this Krishna consciousness movement is balderdash. It's crazy. Look at what they're doing. They're ruining culture. It's a deep process. So sometimes when you do both things simultaneously, your learning may seem slower, but you're actually taking very real steps, one by one. It's not a quick fix. Krishna consciousness is not allopathic medicine. We don't come to Krishna consciousness to deal with the symptoms. Oh, yeah, that feels good. I mean, it's not a painkiller. Krishna consciousness is Ayurvedic. We want to get to the root of the disease. The root of the disease is my attachment to my false ego. That is really the root of the disease. But we don't even know what our false ego looks like. It's invisible. So the root of the disease is our own attachment to our false identity. That is the root. Now, to get to that root, it's going to take some time because it's invisible. We can't see it. And it stays alive by hiding. So did that make sense? Would that answer your question? Yeah. One by one step. 1 and 2.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you very much for establishing a quick heart connection with the whole audience. Thank you very much.
Trying.
My question is, you said about how we are attached to avoiding pain and seeking pleasure, which is very natural.
Yes.
Having come in Krishna consciousness also, we tend to get comfortable, and there reaches a situation when we avoid pain of any type.
Right.
Or discomfort.
Right.
Now, how does one surrender? Obviously involves going beyond this. So how does one prepare the heart to face all the pain that Krishna might put you in, just so that you may advance?
We want a balance. We certainly have needs, and sometimes we sacrifice and deny our own needs, which is the foundation on which we can function. And we push down our needs. But when we push down our needs, then our mind has to figure out, because this need has to be met. It's important. So it figures out a strategy, and then it wants to go for a quick fix. It's actually counterproductive. So fulfilling on our needs is an important foundation for which to then get out of the comfort zone. But when we deny our needs, we can't take a real step because we're not grounded in what's needed at this point in time. It's kind of like, if Krishna consciousness is down there on the bottom level, if pure devotion is down there, so I say, I shouldn't be here, I should be there. I shouldn't be here, I should be there. I shouldn't be here, I should be there. Tell me, where am I? You're nowhere. You're actually nowhere. You're not here, and you're not there. And from nowhere, you're kind of floating. You can't take a step. I have to acknowledge, here is where I am. This is where I am right now. I have certain needs. What is the next very real step I can get to go in that direction? And as you take the step-by-step process, you actually, can let go. It's not like it's ripped apart from you. They say that if all your sense gratification was taken away immediately, you would die. You wouldn't be able to handle it, right? So little by little, you're saying, oh, yes, and even sometimes, I was so attached to certain things. I said, Krishna, how will I ever not be attached to that person? How will that ever happen? I could not conceive that it could ever happen. I couldn't figure it out. Krishna's mercy, Krishna's miracle, it happened. There was some pain involved, but Krishna helped me through it. But it was at the appropriate time. 10 years earlier, I couldn't have done that. So, getting out of the comfort zone is, what do you want from me now, Krishna? What do you want from me now today? What do you want from me this year? And kind of looking at your year, and you kind of look ahead and say, okay, what's the next thing I want to work on in Krishna consciousness? So, okay, I'm a little irregular with my japa. Maybe I want to make my japa more regular. You work on that. You work on one thing at a time. You don't try to do everything, but you work on something and you make some very real steps in that area. But you got to really recognize what you need too, because you can't deny yourself artificially. You got to really see, what you really need and what will support you in your Krishna consciousness. It has to be a very real, and that's why you got to use your intelligence. Does that make sense? It's a deep topic, but that's the quick answer. Okay, it's 2 minutes after 9, so what do we do? This person had a question. Okay. Pass the mic.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Uh-oh.
Can I ask a question, please?
I guess so. You got the mic. Go ahead. Okay.
I have a question, Mataji, that you gave a nice example of Draupadi being disrobed at the assembly.
Where are you? Can you stand up? Okay. Thank you.
So in this regard, there's another example that comes up when during Damodar Leela, so when Mother tried to bind Krishna, so in this case, there were two things lacking. One was her endeavor and second was God's mercy. So here, this thing comes that we also have to endeavor, but in Draupadi's case, she has to leave everything. So Mataji, how to get to this point that till where I should endeavor and at which point I have to leave on Krishna?
That's a good question. Active participation is definitely required because this is a relationship. It's not like I'm a 2-year-old laying on the ground, oh, Krishna, you got to drag me, Guru Krishna, you got to drag me back to Godhead. Right? I'm so fallen, you got to drag me back. Did you ever try to drag a 2-year-old? Kicking and screaming 2-year-old. It's hard. We need to stand up, brush ourselves off, and take Krishna's hand. So the endeavor is there. And then when we find that we keep, we want to keep praying to Krishna. Sometimes like, is this what you want me to do? Is this the direction you want me to go in? Ask for confirmation. Please give me some indication this is how you want me to go, how you want me to endeavor. Keep asking, having a regular conversation with Krishna. Show me if this was what you want me to do. So the calling out to Krishna is regular. And I would say during our japa, we can call out, okay, it's a new day, Krishna. Here I am. I'm with you. I'm chanting. I'm calling out to you. Show me how you want me to serve today. Let me be open to whatever possibilities you want. You make that prayer in the morning, and then when things come up in front of your face that you didn't expect, which they will, okay, Krishna, what's the appropriate way to deal with this? How can I deal with this? Help me to use my intelligence. So both are there. We want to endeavor and we want to participate, but we want to be guided. We've got our energy, we've got our endeavor, but then we want Krishna, guide me which way you want me to go. I don't know if that was a clear answer, but, pray to Krishna, use your intelligence. When I try to endeavor for something and I keep getting blocked, I ascertain, Krishna doesn't want this. He doesn't want me to do this. He's really blocking me. Now, sometimes we can try to go beyond that block. One time we were going to get a mortgage for the building, and it was going to happen on Janmashtami, and then the lawyers called up and said, it's not going to happen. I said, well, I'll bring the papers out there. And on the way out, I said, oh, Krishna, you don't want to have this on your birthday? You don't want this to be on your birthday? That would be so wonderful. It could be on your birthday. And then I said, but whatever you want, it's your will. I surrender. You're the potter, I'm the clay. But it would really be nice to have it on your birthday. And then Krishna arranged it, and it happened. It was on Janmashtami. But we got to be willing for both. You got to be willing for both. When you're willing for whatever Krishna wants, he'll show you the right way. When you're attached either way, you're not going to be able to see clearly. Clear intelligence means, okay, whatever you want. Did that answer your question? Okay, and then one more question. And then I'm here after the class if somebody wants to ask something.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hari Bol.
Thank you for nice lectures. My question is that today, every day we hear Guru Vandana, the Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite de Kariyakya. So, follow the instruction of a spiritual master is the only my life and soul. So, in different, sometimes I use the things like gadgets, but my spiritual master said you should not use the gadgets. Then I ask my intelligence, I should use or not. So intelligence said, well, you can use. So whatever things in my mind or intelligent, so we can faith on my intelligent or ask my spiritual master, because sometimes it's happen we use the things or said it should use for the pleasure of the Lord. So how can understand?
Okay. Is your spiritual master alive? You can call him up.
But
You can have regular contact with him.
in these cases, the Narad Muni is the spiritual master, Priyabrat. Both are present.
Yes.
So Narad Muni said you should not enter the family life.
Yes.
But Lord Bamba said ki you have to enter.
Right. And what did Prabhupada say? He had to learn how to do both. He had to be able to do both. So Narada Muni's instruction was to be detached, right? And Brahma's instruction was to externally engage in being the king and a householder. So he used his intelligence to do both. So you got the gadget, okay? We all got them. They're really helpful, right? You got the pocket Vedas on here. You can connect with people and find out all kinds of things. There's a lot of other things you can use this for too. So you really have to determine, am I using it for the service of Krishna or not? You determine it. You're intelligent. When you see yourself getting distracted and, oh my gosh, how did I spend an hour doing that? You just can realize, okay, I didn't use it in that very well at that point in time. And you don't have to beat yourself up. Just notice, okay, it can distract me from my Krishna consciousness. But I mean, did your spiritual master tell you you shouldn't use a gadget at all? And did he tell you that?
No.
Okay. I was a little confused there. So use your intelligence. You can see when you're using it for Krishna. You can see when it's distracting you. You have intelligence.
But I have intelligent, like in the Nectar of Instruction, it is said that one who is Goswami, who can control his senses. So I am not control my senses.
Okay.
My intelligent. So how can I faith my intelligent?
A lot of times our senses get really agitated when we don't fulfill our deeper needs. When we don't fulfill our deeper needs, I'll give you an example. Sometimes when I'm really, really stressed, sometimes I notice that there's this one game on the computer called Free Cell. And sometimes I'll notice I just am drawn to play that game, and then I'll spend an hour playing that game. This doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. So I start to say, what is going on here? It's like I got so many things to do. Why am I spending an hour playing this game over and over again? And I figured it out. Every time I'm stressed and I'm really pushing myself beyond my needs. My mind is like, I can't take this. I just want to have some fun. Just give me a break from all this. And so that's the strategy. But when I actually get what my need is, I need more space. I need to get some proper rest. I'm stressed out. And when I take care of that and I'm not stressed, I have no desire to play that game. It's actually the mind is saying, you're not having any fun here. You're really pushing yourself beyond the needs. We need to go. we're on tilt here. We need to just go and zone out here. You're going to snap if you don't take a break. So the mind just gives you a quick fix, right? That's sense gratification. But when we notice, what is it that I really need that this, I think that this sense gratification is fulfilling. It's not really fulfilling it, but it's a perverted way of fulfilling a need. It's like, oh, I'm stressed out. I need a little downtime. I need a little, space. Yeah. Then I don't need to play that game because I'm already taking care of that need. It's not a desperate attempt. So when you see some sense gratification coming up or some anartha, generally there's a deeper need that's not being addressed, and your mind is going into emergency mode and just kind of grasping for some immediate pleasure to relieve some pain caused by our stress of neglecting something that we really need. Does that make sense? That's just a real example. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam.